Hi. This is a bit of a weird, serious topic that you know, it it never really went public. Hi, Fitushi. It never really went public by either one of us, but I feel like I have to do it just because this type of behavior towards somebody is quite frankly unacceptable and not really like it's not excusable. Um it's a bit of a hard topic to talk about considering I still feel like it's stupid and I shouldn't really talk about it. And I feel like I should have known better. I thought I knew better, but I didn't. Um it you don't really realize what happens between you and another person until like maybe a few years after the fact, once you've gotten older and once you look back at it and you're like, why did they act with me when I was this young, you know? So it's before like a month or so ago I made that doc, and I wanted to keep that person's name a secret because I didn't want to ruin the friendships, I didn't want to ruin the reputation, and I just wanted to get the feeling I had off my chest that I had for months, maybe my even years. Actually, it was in my chest for years. Once I started like building spite for this person because of what they've done, it culminated. And yesterday I had a small little burst, like a little explosion happen, and I talked to it with my boyfriend, and he's right. Logically, me doing this is fucking dumb. It's not a good idea. He didn't word it like that. He's just saying that he personally wouldn't do it. And I agree with him. I probably shouldn't have done this in the first place, but it feels a lot better. I'll feel a lot better about it once it's out. Consequences be fucking damned. At least people know how this person was, and I can only assume still is. Um, it's just at this point I've been thinking about it for like the past month and some days and some weeks. Because this person has very like, how do I say this? I should have just written everything out, but I'll just go off the top of my head. Um, this person has very like predatory. I wouldn't say like, what's the word? They have the inclination to be, not inclination, but they have the habit of doing overly sexual jokes with people regardless of their age, which is fucking weird. So you already know, based off of what I posted a month or so ago on that doc, which I will go over as well today, just to like add more context, because there are parts I left out just for the sake of consistency and making it easier to fucking read. But uh, you can't really excuse joking around in that manner with a minor and then planning ahead of time to tell said minor that you had feelings for them months after they turned 18 when you are in your mid fucking 20s, pushing late 20s. Like there's no excuse for that. Like absolutely none. And not to mention that this wasn't the only person I wasn't the only person they acted with like this with. Which is fucked when you think about it. Because the person they acted with this way as well was 2 years younger than me. So when I turned 18, they were still a minor. Which is fucked. It's fucked. So it's like at this point, I'm doing it in case people. I'm also doing this again just to highlight in case people have been through this with this person, because I highly doubt me and this one other person were the only ones who were approached in this manner by this person who I should probably name at this point. But the person I'm talking about shares a lot of friends with me. I met friends through them. They met friends through me. And I think as a result of the situation, they've completely and utterly isolated the friends they met through me, and just completely, I like withdrew and didn't give them a reason why. But I think this might give people who still don't know why a reason why. So, if you haven't figured it out already, which I most likely would be surprised if you haven't, but not really, because I covered their name for fuck's sake. Only friends who were involved in their group chat actually know who it was at this point. But the person I'm talking about is Tasty Taco. It's oh my god, they actually alleviated a bit of a weight to saying his fucking name. Is that goddamn okay? I'm gonna try my best to not be insulting. I'm gonna try my best to try to get my point across without being insulting. But I just I feel nothing but spite at this point, and this might be me being spiteful. This might be me being petty, but I need this weight off my chest because I feel like I'm going to go crazy if I don't. So let me run back through the doc. Let me explain some things, and let me show screenshots with his name unblurred, by keeping his private name, by keeping his IRL name private. Because we both did know each other. We were close to each other to the point that we were on a first name basis, an IRL first name basis. So, let me go through and make sure I got every single one. Because even though it doesn't show up too much in the screenshots, it does show up a bit. But I would honestly go through the process of showing our DMs on stream, but that would also be exposing his name, and I do not want to dox him. I do not want to do that. So let me just swap it over to the other screen because I have everything pulled up here. So this is the doc I made a month and some weeks ago, talking about, well, it's still true. I do want to just get this off my chest once again because it's been eating me alive for the past month and some weeks. This was originally just supposed to be a vent post. This was originally just supposed to be a, hey, I'm pissed. I can't believe I actually had this happen to me. And I wanted to be like an awareness post to be like, hey, if you're in this situation, it's fucked. You're not supposed to be in this situation. No adult's supposed to talk to you this way. You're not supposed to be this attached. Like, an adult should not be attached to you this badly as a minor. Like, that's genuinely the gist of what I was trying to get across. Because at the end of the day, even though, like, nothing sexual happened other than sexual conversations, but that was just me. That's the situation was literally just me being the curiosity killed the cat, and just sure as fuck killed me that day when we got those conversations out the way. Like, when you turn 18, you don't magically mature overnight. Like, that's not gonna happen. You're still gonna have the same mentality you did when you were 17. And for me, my brain never processed that I turned 18. I still thought I was 17 until I was 20. Like, I guess that's just a byproduct of me going, I wish this never fucking happened, but it happened, and I can't say, oh, it never did happen when it did. It's very obvious that it did. But I wrote this document when it was like late at night, and you shouldn't follow your late at night thoughts, but this is like one of the times where you should. And I wrote it. I pasted screenshots. I blurred out names. I took off, like, I didn't take off anything. I just isolated the spots which were like incriminating, because you can't really, even with context, you cannot excuse the behavior. And I got one more screenshot that really, it's like really damning evidence. But yeah, that's, I don't, it's wild to think about. Cause me and Taco, we were conjoined at the hip. We were very close. At least that's what I think we were. I don't know. But okay, so let's start from the very fucking beginning. Okay? So VR chat, fun, you know. Me and my friends were like, "Oh, hey, let's get on VR chat," because we saw VR chat videos and stuff at the peak of like the Yuga and the Knuckles like meme. So we're like, "Oh, this is funny. We should get on." Or like one of them was like, "Hey, it's funny. We should get on." So we all got on. A few months go by, and I think it was like 2019. Did I turn 16 in 2019? In 2019, I was supposed to turn 17. So yeah, I did. Okay. No, 2019, I was supposed to turn 16 because I was 15. No. Was it 2018 or 2019? I do not remember. I think it was 2018. All I remember is I was 15, turning 16. I was roughly a month and a few weeks away from turning 16 when I first encountered or got into an encounter with Taco, who was well into his 20s. And I met him through a friend of mine who's still my friend, who I consider to be one of my best friends. And I met him through him, and it didn't take Taco too long to get comfortable with sexual jokes in my direction. And it's, you just don't do that, especially if you're in your 20s talking to a fucking 15, 16-year-old. You just don't do that. It doesn't matter. You don't do that. It's grody, it's gross, it's disgusting, it's predatory. Regardless of the fact if somebody might disagree or agree, you just don't do that. People online have gotten ripped to shreds for doing less towards a minor. So it's like, it's just to go to show where it's like, you don't do that. You just don't do that. But it didn't take long for him to get comfortable with it, and we were like a couple months into it. I had already turned 16. We maybe like a year into it. I was like 16 when the joke started way before that, but maybe like a year into it, maybe a few months into it. I don't remember. My best friend, I think this is still a clip that's up on Taco's channel. I have no idea. I don't want to go looking for it. I can't stand the sound of his voice anymore. I've grown spiteful of him. I've grown spiteful of the person he has quite literally become. So I cannot bring myself to search it up. I do not like, I cannot stand the sound of his voice. It's like nails on a chalkboard to me. But I remember he made like a joke or some shit, and my friend clapped back saying, "Shouldn't you be in jail, Taco?" Like, even he knew it was fucked, but we were like, haha, funny joke. Friend, nothing nefarious can come from that, right? Nothing nefarious can come from a friend joking with another friend. And that's where the fucking thinking, like, that's the type of thinking you go into when you're friends with somebody and they make a joke towards you at your expense, and you're just like, oh, you can't really say anything about that, right? No, apparently not. But it's like, I'm not gonna leave this tidbit of information out. I did admit to it here. I became hostile and mean towards Taco. I think, when was it? last year. It was last year. I became hostile. I became mean. I started making jokes at his expense. I started insulting him in jokes. I started being a dickhead. But not that I think. I finally know why. I finally know why I did all this. But I did make jokes at his expense. I did do all that, and he did reach out to me, saying, "Hey, can you stop that?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure, I will." I was like 20. I was 20 at the time. I turned 21 in December, so I was 20. Yeah. And I was like, "Hey, okay, yeah, sure, I'll stop. I'll quit. You know, that you do what? I'll stop doing that. That's fucked up. That fuck shit. You know, I'll stop being mean." I was still, because I was still holding on to a memory of a friend I used to have. I was still holding on to the memory I had of him before everything that conspired. And at that point, I myself did not know why I was angry. I do now, but I didn't back then. I didn't like a year ago. I didn't know why I was so angry. I didn't know why I was so mean. So, me being me, I'm just like, oh shit, sorry, I won't do it again. I kind of have a habit of not like clocking myself, you know. Like I can take criticism, I can take when people call me out and shit. I just need that to happen more often. Which honestly, looking back at it now, is a bullshit excuse. But that's the best I could come up with at the time. Which is fucking stupid when you think about it, but that's the best I had. And he's like, okay, thanks for understanding. I'm like, yeah, no, sure. And we went a few months, I think, without me. Yeah, we went through a period without me being an asshole, but then I started up again, and I ramped it up a little bit more than I did last time. So then he's like, hey, I don't think we should be friends anymore. Like, you do this all the time. When I'm around you, you insult me, and I'm just like, oh shit, right, okay. Don't know what to tell you. I know this behavior is unacceptable. So I take the L. Have a good one. Have a good life. Let's not tell anybody we're not friends anymore for the sake of being civil in case we get invited to the same collab. He agrees. And then apparently goes to talk to people about it. I've gotten from two different people. I've gotten confirmation from two different people that he's already gone and talked. I don't know how shortly after this conversation it happened, but he went, he talked, he told people, hey, me and her aren't friends anymore, watch out for her, she's mean. And I'm like, all right, so we're just gonna leave out everything else, right? Because I don't blame him for not knowing, because I didn't know why I was being a bitch either until I thought about everything and I realized, oh, it's because of this. It's because you intentionally or unintentionally, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt in that saying alone, but you intentionally or unintentionally groomed me when I was a minor. Fun, isn't it? And I can't exactly go up to Taco either and be like, hey, you did this to me, because how's he gonna take it? How the fuck is he gonna take it? And the reason why I'm doing this stream in the first place is because I can't bring it up to people we both know and be like, hey, he did this to me, here's the screenshots. Because even if I did that, I want to do it like one by one, individually, and that's like one, too many people to do it to, and two, I can't bring that shit up in conversation. I can't. I just simply cannot. But the other two people, it came up in conversation. One, because I was in a VC with one of them, helping them do something, and the conversation came up naturally. In a way, it came up naturally. But it's not even that it came up naturally, that the person already knew it was about them. Like, it wasn't even that good. Okay, let me reword that. So the person I talked to in VC about this with, I'm not gonna name them, but we were in VC for a different reason entirely, and then the conversation came up. I remember I had told them days before, hey, I'm gonna upload this later, and they'd be like, oh, okay. And then in the com, like, hey, I already uploaded this. Here you go if you want to read it. And they read it, and they connected two and two together because he had already gone and talked. He had gone and warned this person about me with the inclination, with the idea of, I feel weird about her being in my friends' chats. You can't gatekeep friends at this grown age of yours when you've introduced me to them and I clicked with them. That's just not gonna happen. That's just not feasible. You know, it's just not like a smart move to do. You just can't fucking do that. It's fucking dumb. It's immature. Much like how you went behind and told everybody while I was keeping this inside, and like, I was a ticking time bomb, essentially. And you went and talked. That's not very fun, is it? Even though after we both agreed, we're like, hey, yeah, sure, we're not gonna tell anybody. You went and talked. What are we, in high school? Like, this, whatever, you know. But this is what happened. I was an asshole. He broke up the friendship. But for me, the friendship ended years ago. It ended years ago. It ended when I called off whatever the fuck was going on between the both of us when I was 18. So let me bring it back. So here I go again to when we met. We met through my friend, who is my best friend. Let's just call him B for the sake of keeping his name private, unless he wants me to say his name. But I didn't go to him and be like, hey, you want me to put your name in here? But this is how we're doing it. So friend B, we met through him. And yeah, we would spend a lot of time together. So literally we would hop on daily, and Taco would be on. I'd join Taco. We'd be on VR chat, and we'd just do whatever. We'd play murder. We'd play the horror games. We'd go to Black Cat. The Great Pug. I don't think the Black Cat was as popular back then. And we would just ward hop. We would like do big lobbies of friends. We would like play together. Not to mention, he never shied away from doing the sexual jokes in front of those friends either, but that's besides the point. And by the time I turned 17, we were very much attached to the hip. And I mean, very. We would stay up from morning to night in calls, sometimes those calls lasting fucking days. We would text every day, we would talk to each other every day, we would play games every day, we would watch videos, movies. We do literally everything all the time. And at some points, like, even when we were together for like days, I would have to take breaks. Like, I would have to make up a bullshit excuse and be like, hey, I need to go do something so I can step away from my computer and take a break. Because, believe it or not, being in the call for days with a one person like this is tiring. It's mentally tiring. It's exhausting. And back then, I was like, oh, friends do this all the time. Friends are supposed to do this all the time. I thought it was fine. I thought it was okay. I was stupid, obviously. But that's what I thought. I thought, hey, this is fine. I'm 17. Yeah, sure. Bro was in his 20s, mid-20s at this point. But it's fine, right? Like, this is fine. This is okay. This is cool. This is chill. I must be so mature to have a fucking friend that's like pushing late 20s at this point. Like, this is great. No, apparently fucking not. It's not great. It's fucking gross. It's disgusting. It's everything negative in the book. Like, an adult should not be this hung up on you when you are a minor. Much less when you're 18 either. Like, even though I turned 18 and everything else is like legally fine once I turned 18. It's still not okay. Granted, it's legal, but morally and ethically, it's not good. Ethically, it's questionable. Morally, it's wrong. This is how I like to sum up this whole situation. Legally okay, ethically questionable, morally wrong. It's just not. It's just not great. It's not good. Regardless of how you look at it, it's not nice. But there will also be periods of time where we would sit in silence together, and we would sleep through calls together. And now that I think about it, I'm like memories of those sleep calls are coming back, and they're gross. Because there would be times where I would like be sleeping in, and I would be like partially awake, and I'd hear him start going like, "It's time to wake up," and I would like groan, you know, cause be like, "Oh, shut the fuck up," right? Like I'd stop, be like, I start going like, I don't want to wake up, and I'd hear this motherfucker go whispering, "Oh, that's so cute." It's so gross to think about. It's so gross to think about. Now that I'm thinking back on it, I'm like, how? Oh, God. Ugh. Ugh. It makes my fucking skin crawl thinking about it. But even through all of that, through the process of us being friends and being so attached, I looked up at Taco like a brother. Like the brother I wish I had, and now thinking about it, I regret saying those words. I regret saying those words immensely. But every time I would say that, he would also shut it down immediately. Because he was, and always gave me the excuse of family, like, tropes aren't my thing. And it's just like, I'm not calling you my brother, I'm just saying I wish I had you like a brother, like an IRL brother. I wish you were my brother. Essentially is what I was trying to say. Not that, hey, you're my brother. Like, no. There's a difference. But he kept shutting that shit down each and every time. And in the group chat that we shared, I say shared, past tense. We would call him grandpa, we would call him dad, and that would also ride him up the fucking wall. But, you know, me, the other person that's 2 years younger than me, and everybody else, except for one other person, were under 20. We were under 19, actually, as a whole, for a bit. Everybody else was calling him grandpa, dad, as a joke. And then he would always like get pissed about it. But, you know, teenagers will be teenagers, you know? They don't give a fuck as long as they're getting a laugh. But, yeah, during that time, it was fun until I cut the cord on whatever the fuck we were going to be, or we were, and I cut it off, and that's the day I mourned our friendship, because that was the day the friendship had died for me. Taco's and I's friendship. That's the day it died for me. And I think, and I wasn't even trying, because my attention whore tendency still followed me into when I was 18. So naturally, I went into the group chat and I started going, "Oh, I feel bad. Oh, I feel sick. Oh, I just threw up," you know. But I never specifically said why. I think people thought I was sick, but in reality, I had cried so hard that day I threw up. But now here's another thing that I don't like boasting around. But I always get a sense when people like me. But also, Taco was horrible at hiding it. Taco was so bad at hiding it. And it doesn't even help that I got these feelings when I was 17. Maybe 16, 17. Maybe when I was like 16 turning 17, and then the whole year of me being 17. Because I remember that feeling sticking in the back of my mind for a while. And I was just like, no, I'm being delusional. An adult could never like me, you know, because I was always very much against adults and children. Well, I was a child, I was a teenager. Adults and children being in relationships. I still am. I still find that to be the most disgusting thing you can ever do. But I was like, no, I'm being delusional. An adult can't like me. I'm a minor. That's not good. That's not okay. That can't happen. Well, it happened. Cause, and it would be like Taco would be like bad at hiding it. He'd be so bad at hiding it. He'd be like, anyone would be lucky to be with you, and I do anything to you, and of course I do that for you, and oh, I did it to you because I wanted to. Mind you, I was the only one getting this special treatment. I knew that too. I knew I was. And it's like me being an attention whore, I'd fight it, but I liked the attention. But it was still like, you can't be doing that. You can't be saying that shit. Like, sure, you can say that to somebody who's older and their 20s, who you have an affinity to, like who you like, but you can't be saying that shit to a minor, you know? You can't be doing that shit to a minor. That's fucking odd. And then this is another one. He told me he had a thing for somebody, and that they'd hang out a lot, and tried to describe them to me. And at that point, I'm just like, who are you hanging out with other than me? But I never said that, because at this point we had still been doing the daily calls, the daily texts, the daily games, daily videos, daily movies. Like not daily movies, but you get the point. Like, we were doing everything together. So him going, oh yeah, I like this person and we hang out a lot, and they're like this and they're like that, they look like this, they look like that. I'm just like, I wonder who that could be, but you know, I'm not gonna say it out loud, right? I'm not gonna fucking say it out loud. But the more I heard, I'm like, oh, I deluded myself. I was like, oh, that can't be right. You're an adult. I'm a minor. That can't be right. But I was wrong, and I wanted to be wrong about him liking me, but I wasn't. I wanted to be so wrong. I wanted to be so wrong about the idea of him liking me or having any sort of like feelings towards me, but apparently I wasn't. Because like I outline here, I think it was on the 26th. It was on the 26th of December of 2020. We watched Soul, the movie that had just come out that month for Christmas. And after that movie, I forced the confession out of him on call. Because I don't remember how the conversation came up. It's a very, very fuzzy, very weird memory. I don't remember a whole lot of it. But, I remember just the feeling of the conversation of feelings coming up. And then Taco almost slipping up, right? Like, he slipped up on words, and I pushed him about it, and I'm like, what were you gonna say? What were you gonna say? And he would always be like, no, I didn't mean it, it's fine, it's whatever. I mean, like, you can't say that after you almost told me it, right? You can't just take it back. And you could absolutely take it back. I'm a fucking minor. I just turned 18 that month. I don't know any better. You can absolutely take it back, shut down the conversations, just let it be, right? You were the adult in the situation. I was by law an adult, not mentally. So I had no say over the situation. You could have just been like, no, that's the answer you're getting. That's that. We're ending the conversation here. But, you know, it's not even that I pushed him into it. It didn't take much convincing, now that I remember. It did not take much convincing to get it out of him. And he told me. And when I asked him for how long, he said a while. He didn't give me a definitive answer. He didn't tell me when it started. He didn't give me a rough timeline of when it started. He just said a while. And I'm just like, oh, because I felt gross. I felt my heart like sink. I didn't feel great about it. And this is on Christmas Day. These are the screenshots that are here. And of course, I did go through and censor names again, like real names. And I remember I called him first, and then he tried to call me back, and I'm like, oh, did you try to call me back? And like, I was going to bed at that point though, so I was like, good night, I guess, you know? I was going to do something, but it can wait. Like, that just gives me the inclination of, oh, you're gonna tell me something you probably shouldn't have. Or you're gonna tell me something you were planning on doing after I turned 18. Like, I can't. Like, how? It's the only answer I have. It's the only question I have. How do you acknowledge that the friend you're talking to every day, the quote-unquote friend you're talking to every day, is a minor, yet still have the audacity to let yourself feel feelings for them? How do you do that? How do you do that? And then once they turn 18, on Christmas Day, you're just like, hey, I was going to do something, but it can wait. What goes through your head that makes you think that's morally okay? I don't get it. I really don't. Like, and I try to force him to tell me, and he's actually fighting back at me about it. And I'm just like, tell me. And I knew he hated when I called him by his name, so I was gonna spam a wall of his name, which I did a lot. So that's another reason why I don't want to show the DMs without like censoring his name, because it's like there are times where it's nothing but just his name. And then he was fighting back against me, and I'm like, tell me. He's like, I did. And he's telling me, I'll tell you the truth. If you don't mind me, have some late night anxiety to catch up on. Knowing I had already caught him on it, but I wanted to hear it because I wanted to confirm it. At this point, like, the suspicion of him liking me had already gone for like a while. So at this point, I already fucking knew. I knew because he was bad at hiding it. And then we scroll down a little bit more, and this was the day after Christmas. He pulled this shit on me. Let me see if I have it. Yeah, it's right here. He pulls the mistletoe kiss through text on me, which was kind of fucking cringe. But I did feel uncomfortable when it happened, because I'm just like, how, like, why did you do that? Like, what the fuck? Why did you do that? And it's just like the stuttering over text as well. That's another thing that was a pet peeve to me. And I'm over here like spamming like end caps. What type of shit? Explain. Why did you send me that? He would just be like, Merry Christmas. You know, anyway, good night. And I'd be like, explain. Good night, sweet dreams. We'd call each other by our name. I'm like, what was the reason behind you sending you that? Merry Christmas. And we basically left it at that for that time anyway. And then these are the next texts. Talking about what happened before. And he asked me like, are you mad or anything? And I was like, no. I was slightly uncomfy, which is me underplaying the situation. I was actually very uncomfortable, but you know, me being me, I was like, oh, he's my friend. I don't want to make him feel too bad, so I'm gonna say slightly uncomfy. You know, I'm trying to not make the guilt on him too great. I'll be like, oh, I was slightly uncomfortable. I was slightly this. I was slightly that. And he naturally, as he always does, he was like, oh, I'm sorry about that, with the face. And I'm like, it's okay. And then I tried to like damage control. I'm like, oh fuck, okay, now he's sad. Time for me to pat him on the back and say, there, champ, it's okay, it's okay. And then he's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. And then I don't know why he would always tell me that. Like, he would be like, oh, when you did this, it started making me blush. And then the stuttering over text again. Ugh. And I would tell him, don't ever do that again. Don't ever stutter over text again. And then this was the day where we watched Soul. And that's when I forced the confession out of them after the movie and everything, after the fact. And I don't remember a lot of the conversation. I really don't. I just remember the confession and me pressuring it out of him and the confession. That's all I remember of that entire conversation. We watched the movie, we had a conversation. All I remember about that was just the confession. That's it. Absolutely nothing else. Everything else is muddy, fuzzy. I don't remember a single damn word. But after the confession and everything, after I forced it out of him, I felt numb. I felt gross. I felt everything. I was like, oh, ugh. That's kind of yikes, but I felt I don't know. I felt gross, but in order to maintain a friendship I thought we still had, I kind of accepted it as it was and moved on. But you know, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought it was like, hey, I'm 18 now, it's fine, it's fine. It's legal, I guess. Cuz it was a complete oversight on my part to completely ignore the fact that those feelings he had been chasing were as far as back as maybe when I was like 16, or maybe when I had just recently turned 17. It's like, it's hard to think about it. Like, when you are in the situation, you don't think about those things. You don't think about the minuscule details. But now that we haven't been friends for so long, I was like, oh fuck, this is kind of gross. This is fucked up. Like, this is not okay. Like, this is the exact thought process I had. So what if he liked me when I was like 17? I was a minor. It's fine now, right? I'm 18. It's legal now. So it should be fine. Think there's no ramifications on either one of us for this. Obviously, I'm still like dealing with the fucking ramifications of it. So obviously, it's not fine. Yeah, and the following few days, I was very withdrawn. I cut conversation short. Not a whole lot happened. That's why I didn't like really bother screenshotting them, because they were very short conversations. They were very quick to the point, and we were like, okay, bye, after the fact. So at that point, our dynamic had shifted. We were no longer buddies like I thought we were. At least on my part, it didn't feel like we were that close anymore. It didn't feel like our friendship was the same. But I had to make the most out of it when I was younger, because I didn't know better. I did not know better. And I remember, unfortunately, maybe like 4 days after, 4 to 5 days after the whole confession thing happened, my grandma, who had been hospitalized a day after my birthday from a stroke, passed away. And naturally, it took a toll on me, so I asked for, like, I went into the group chat that everybody who I was close to at the time was in, except for like a few other people. But he was in the group chat, and I was like, hey, I need my space. My grandma just passed away. I would really appreciate it if you guys, like, you know, gave me my space, right? I don't want to talk to anybody right now in particular, so like let me have this moment to myself. And Taco's really bad with boundaries. He's horrible with boundaries. He feels like he can shimmy in when he fucking wants. Like it's he's been like that throughout our entire friendship, to be completely fucking honest with you. He is horrible with boundaries. So when I put that in the group chat, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just take the rest of the day and I'll be on my own. I'll be like mourning, essentially. I'll be fine. I just need my time. He comes into my DMs. It tells me, I'm here for you no matter what. After I had just asked, hey, can y'all like not message me? I need my time. So I got a little snippy, I got a little bitter. And I'm like, hey, next time I say something about leaving me alone, can you leave me the fuck alone? And he's like, we'll do, sorry. Like he tucked his tail between his legs and like cowered a little bit. But that's not the first instance of him doing like of him crossing a boundary. Because I remember when this happened, when I brought up when he's like, oh, I was just slightly uncomfy about it. Like I don't remember exactly what was this situation about boundaries where I was like, hey, that made me uncomfortable, or hey, leave me the fuck alone. He would always come back like after a day and be like, hey, when you told me you were uncomfortable, it made me feel bad, and it made me spiral, and it made me think I ruined our friendship, and it made me think I did this and the other. So essentially he would make me feel bad for feeling bad about the situation he put me in. Because I know it was more than one instance where he did that, and I don't remember if it was from like the mistletoe thing that he did, or if it was from a different conversation. I remember I've had this conversation with him before, of him coming back to me a day or a few days later, going, "Hey, you telling me I made you feel uncomfortable made me feel bad." It's like, what? You don't just say that when somebody does states a boundary with you. You don't fucking do that. You just say, "Oh shit, my bad," and move on. Like, oh, I won't do it again, and then you never do it again. But apparently that's asking too much. And then here I brought up the confession. And I was telling him, hey, it was fucking obvious. Because again, he's bad at hiding his feelings. He's bad at being like, oh, da-de-do, I'm not gonna say anything. But he was just bad at hiding it. He was just really bad at hiding it. It's I don't know. I've known for so long. I'm like, hey, you're kind of dog shit at hiding your feelings. You know, it's been this way for maybe close to a year, more than a year probably at this point. Who fucking knows? For all I know, your feelings could have started when I was 16, because that's when I started getting the fucking feelings, like the feeling of like, oh, he likes me. Being in his 20s, you know what I mean? It's so gross. It's so gross. It's so bad. It's disgusting. It makes me feel, ugh. Anyway. It's a whole situation, and it makes me feel gross every time I think about it. Cause here, like, I'm like, okay, since you have feelings for me, in my head I was like, oh, okay, since he has feelings for me, I'm just like, I'm gonna make this situation easier on myself and start teasing you about it, just so I can get something funny out of it, something enjoyable out of it, just so I'm not feeling uncomfortable this entire time. So that's what I did. I started teasing him about it. I started making fun of him about it. I started like making his feelings the butt of the joke. And I guess over time he realized that, but he was like infatuated with somebody who had just recently turned 18. So I don't think he really cared. But here again, like the friendship stayed. It was never the same though. But even if I felt uncomfortable, I appreciated talking too much at the time to cut ties. Because even though the confession and everything happened, I was like, he's still my friend. He's still my best friend. I still want to be in his life. I still want him to be in my life. As stupid as that fucking sounds, I don't want this to be the reason why our friendship ends. But ultimately, it ended this year. So, I mean, it officially, in words, in writing, ended this year. I don't know. But through the culmination of everything, even if I was uncomfortable, I still accepted calls, texts, game invites, invites to watch movies, invites to watch videos, to just sit in silence and do fucking nothing. I still did everything. Even with the discomfort I felt. They didn't push boundaries. When I say here, he didn't push boundaries in terms of feelings. But he did push boundaries in the form of, hey, can you not do this? And then would come back and be like, hey, you telling me not to do this made me feel bad. I think I have an example of that further down. And again, example of teasing, example of me trying to make the situation better for myself. And then he said something about me like being afraid of me kicking him out of the group chat, which I have done now at this point, because I cannot bring myself to care about his feelings when he doesn't care about mine. So like I just cannot. And this is the group chat. I censored it out, but this is the group chat. We had a name for the group chat too, and he was just afraid of me kicking him out and not talking to him again, which I probably should have done. I not thinking about it now, I should have done that. I should have 100% done it. But I was dumb, I was stupid, I didn't know any better. 18-year-olds are not mature. And here, as I'm telling him, I already told you I'm not leaving unless you give me a reason to. Because generally, I never leave a friend unless they give me an absolute reason to. Or unless they separate themselves first. Like, I'm not the one to initiate the friendship cutting. I'm always the one who like reaps or like suffers the consequences afterwards, but I'm not the one who goes, hey, I'm not friends with you anymore. I've maybe done that maybe 3 times my whole life. 3 times total. But that's about it. If either lost touch with people, or they removed themselves from my life, or they outwardly said, hey, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. All perfectly fine. But I was never the one to be like, we're not friends anymore. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. I don't feel comfortable around you anymore. Like that wasn't me. I wasn't that type of person. So I would always tough it out, even if it was detrimental to my own mental health. You know, it was rough. It was very rough. And this screenshot was him explaining why he didn't see the age gap as an issue. Mind you, at this point, I had asked him, hey, don't you think it's kind of weird that you're dating somebody who's in senior year of high school when you're like nearly done with college? And he gave me the excuse that he doesn't see it weird because his mom, already a well-established adult, was in a relationship with another well-established adult. Then the age gap was 10 years apart. You see why that argument doesn't make sense with our situation? I hadn't even finished high school, my guy. I was in my last year of high school. I had just turned 18. There is no feasible way you thought this was a good argument. And then he gave me another another one's like, hey, I met this guy who's 35 and has a wife in her 50s. Like, you don't. That's not a good excuse. That's not a good fucking excuse. That's not a good fucking excuse at all. I was 18. You were in your mid-20s, pushing late 20s. You're pushing 30 now, buddy. That's not good. That's still not good. If the situation happened between the both of us now, it would still be weird. It would still be fucking weird. I get so heated whenever I get to this part of the topic because it's like, it's so fucking stupid. I get so heated because it. This argument cannot be made. No matter how hard you try it, it cannot be made. Legally, in the eyes of the law, it's fine. But you know damn well morally it's not. Just because it's legally okay does not mean it's morally okay. Like, like, my hands are shaking again thinking about this because it fills me with so much fucking rage. It makes me so mad. And then I added this later on in the doc. But here's another one of me going like, hey, you're sending me good morning texts with heart emojis, heart emotes, and you're sending me good night texts with heart emotes. And I started like sent an emote going, haha, because you're sending me another heart emote. Because at this point I was like, I need to find something funny to, again, tease him about, because I felt uncomfortable all the time. And then I'm like, hey, if I do get the quest, you're gonna see how bad my ADHD flares. And he's like, I wouldn't have it any other way. And at that point I was like, what? What do you mean? And then here, again, another example, boundary crossing. I was like, hey, can I be honest with you? You're sending me good morning and good night texts when it's starting to feel obsessive. And it was starting to feel obsessive. Because it would happen on days we don't talk. It would happen on days we talked minimal. It would happen every day. As if we were in a relationship. As if we were boyfriend and girlfriend. As if we had something going on. It would happen every day. And at one point I'm like, okay, I need to bring this up. I need to probably put an end to this because this is feeling very obsessive. This is feeling very weird. So I bring it up to him. I'm like, hey, can you not do this? Right? This is feeling very obsessive. Like you're doing it every day, night and day. Can you stop? And he's like, okay, I can see that. Sorry, I had no idea it bothered you that much. And I'm like, it's not that it bothered me. It's just it started to feel like a lot. And he's like, yeah, I know what you mean. I'm sorry. And then he'd come to me the next day, and I'd be like, hey, how are you? And he's like, not the best. I'm like, do you need a vet? He's like, kind of, but it's weird. I'm like, how so? And here we go. Like what I said earlier. He'd be like, I kind of feel like I ruined our friendship. I kind of feel like I fucked up. I kind of feel like I did this, I did that, this, that, and the other. And I'd be like, why? He'd be like, cause what you told me made me feel bad about what I did to you. What? What? Me stating a boundary made you feel bad. Me stating, hey, can you not do this, made you feel bad. So now you are bringing it up when I'm just asking how you are today. I'm trying so hard to not smack my face right now because I'm just like, ugh. It's not that I felt uncomfortable, it's just that it was starting to become a bit much. Yeah, but you know me, I tend to overthink then spiral. I don't know how to describe to you how bad this pisses me off too. It's abysmal, it's bad, it's horrible, it's... Bubba, not now. Sorry, Bub. My cat can feel that I'm getting a bit heated, so now he's meowing at me to distract me. Sorry, Bubba. Go that way. But I don't know. It's like when somebody states a boundary with you, the thing you're supposed to do is, okay, sorry, I'll step back, I'll stop doing that thing to make you comfortable again, right? Not, hey, you stating a boundary about how I made you feel makes me feel bad. Like that who does that? Him apparently, but who does that? Like that's not no. Yeah, and then this again, I'd be like, hey, we're not in a relationship. Every time they would do something out of the ordinary, like something that friends platonically do not do to each other, I'd be like, hey, we're not in a relationship. Remember, we're not a thing. We are not boyfriend and girlfriend. We are not a thing. You don't have to keep doing this. Why are you doing this? Stop doing it. You don't need to do it. And like he would just give me princess treatment when I never asked for it, and I would deliberately go over and over and over again saying, "Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Don't give me this treatment. Don't do that." But he'd still do it. And it was a constant back and forth of me going, "Hey, don't fucking do that. I don't want you to do that." And him going, "Oh, but it's how I show my affection. Oh, it's how I show like this, that, and the other." Like fighting back against me going, "Don't do that to me." But after a while, I started to like get used to the treatment. I started to just let it happen. And me being an attention whore when I was a fucking teenager followed me into when I was 18. So after a while, instead of just like fighting it, I started to accept it and borderline started liking the attention. Which, when you think about it, is not great. But again, I was 18, I was stupid, I didn't know any better. I didn't even fucking graduate high school yet. I was, you know, I didn't even know what the fucking world was yet. I was 18. And then after a while, it was like a couple months later or something, he had asked if I wanted to go on a date. And after not thinking about it too hard, and after like, and I'm not gonna blame my friend for this because they didn't know a damn thing that happened before this. But and after like going to a friend and consulting and being like, "Hey, this happened. I'm 18 now, so it's fine, right?" And after like talking to them about it, I went through with it. I agreed, and we went on the date, which was stupid of me. It was very stupid of me to even agree to it. But I didn't think about it too hard. I talked to one person. They were like, "Yeah, sure, it's fine," and I went. I did it. Oh, 3-minute break. I need water. And this is just a text of him going, I want to ask. And me being me, I was like, how would that work? Even though I've been on online relationships before, I've never really gone on a date with them, like virtually. Like that was just not a thing that I thought could happen. That's just not a thing. I'm just like, how would that work? How would dating virtually work? Like in terms of going on a date, you know, how would like, it didn't really cross my mind because it never at that point nobody ever has taken me on a date, so it unfortunately went to him. But I didn't know any better. I was like, how would that work? Like how would the dating work? Because all we do together is play games, watch movies, watch videos. Like it would be no different. He's like, I didn't give it much thought. And he's like, watch a movie together or just hang out. And I'm just like, that's, and in my head, I'm like, that's all we do. That's all we ever fucking do. But, you know. And the wild part is that I also saw this coming from a mile away. I saw the confession coming from a mile away. I saw the date question coming from a mile away. I saw everything. And every single time something happened, I got more and more and more disappointed. I got more uncomfortable. I got more like, why is this my life now? You know, is this? And then he's like, so what do you say? I don't know. I don't know if I can quickly grab the screenshot and edit it to like censor out the name. So give me a second. I don't know if I can. I have no idea if I can. I haven't blocked on Discord now. I remember I said, hey, like on my, I know I said on the document originally, like, hey, if you want to talk about it, talk to me about it. You know where to contact me. I'll talk to you about it. I won't block you. But after a while of thinking, I'm like, I don't want to talk to him anymore. The thought of talking to him pisses me off. I no longer want to talk to you anymore. I have to get the screenshot later. And then after not thinking about it for too long, because I talked to some friends, like, it was like 2 hours later. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give you a chance. Like a fucking idiot. And then he would always go the extra mile of like typing his thoughts and sending them to me. And then I was like, so when is it gonna happen? He said we could have a date night, since I know you can stay up and maybe have a longer date on Friday if you like. And I'm like, so you're planning 2 dates instead of 1. You only asked me the 1, you didn't ask me the 2. And then he just went off the rails after that. And then again, I'm over here trying to make the situation funny for myself. Because I was like, oh fuck, okay, what did I get myself into? And I'd be like, I have to work on homework tonight. Which is very odd when you think about it, because I was calling it homework. I wasn't calling it assignments. I was in high school. You were in college. Well, close to finishing college, I think. Like, no. So we went on that date, and we played Tabletop Simulator. We played Battleship. Like, I already have it outlined here, but the rule was, I think it was the rule, one of us would ask the other the question. So we would, like, it's either after a ship was sunk or after all the ships were sunk. We would ask the winner would ask the other a question, and the other had to answer truthfully. And me being an idiot, I asked a question I probably shouldn't have asked, because after it was answered, I felt disgusting. It was a sexual question, and I remember he answered it, and I felt gross. I felt nasty. I did not feel great. I was like, oh, because at this point I was like, how long had you been thinking that? How long, like, did you let yourself think those thoughts when I was minor? Did you let yourself start having those thoughts when I was 18? Like, when? But I never asked that. I never asked that question. I should have. I really should have. But yeah, I was dumb. 18-year-olds are dumb. I asked the question and I got bit. I got smacked across the wrist for it, for asking such a stupid fucking question. And like, that wasn't the only time I asked him questions as well. Like, we were on VR chat and we were in this one world where it's like you had to like throw a dice, and depending on what dice you landed on, you'd go on to the space on the square and you'd had to answer the question truthfully. And to say the questions were sexual would be an understatement. And to say that he answered most of them fucking like, he answered all of them honestly, and he would like, it was it was so bad. It was so bad. I didn't mention that in the doc, because I'm like, oh, that's not really like something I can back up. But it happened. And every time I think about it, every time I see that world, I'm just like, oh, I no longer want to go into that world. Cuz all I can fucking like, all I can imagine was that day. And like, we weren't the only ones in that world too. But he would only ever answer them truthfully when the other two were out of like hearing out of hearing distance, because VR chat has proximity chat. So the further you are away from somebody, the less you can hear them and the less they can hear you. So when they were further away and they couldn't hear us, he answered the questions honestly in front of me. And like saying that I was like I don't want to say that, but I was oh my god, I don't want to say that. I was the material. Essentially, it's essentially all I'm gonna say. I was the material, and I remember just sitting there going like, "Oh, ew, ugh." And I remember I again I asked him, I'm like, "How long have you liked me for?" And he said a while. Again, not giving me like before. Like I was like before the confession, how long had you liked me for? And he again told me a while. I don't remember if he told me a specific time frame at that time either. He told me a while. So it's like I just can't like what? And we did go on more than one date. I think we went on a total of like four, three. I don't remember. But I kept agreeing because I'm just like, oh, more friend hangout time. Mm. I was dumb. And after a few dates, I was like, I don't know if I genuinely felt attraction or if I felt feelings of appreciation, but I think I confused both of them as like the same thing. So I was like, hey, I told him, hey, I like you too, which was a mistake. Because a few days afterwards, I realized, oh fuck, they weren't actual feelings of attraction. I just enjoyed the attention you were giving me. So I was thinking about it and I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna have to break it to him that I actually don't have feelings for him and I'm gonna have to stop whatever the fuck this is before it gets any more serious or before he thinks he could take it to the next level, right? So I gathered the courage and I talked to a few other friends about it too. I'm like, I think I need to tell him I don't like him. And that's not even I think, it's like I know I had to tell him. So I talked to a few friends. They're like, all right, go for it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So I go a few days after. And I'm like, okay, this is the day I'm gonna do it. This is how I'm gonna do it. I had like the whole thing out in my head. I planned the whole fucking speech I was gonna do. I planned everything. I was like, okay, this is the day, this is the time. This is I'm gonna say it like this, that, and the other, and everything's gonna go well. Everything's gonna go good. I'm gonna get my point across, and that'll be that. That'll be that. That'll be the end of it. Well, that day comes, and that was the same day he asked me to be his girlfriend. And I don't have anything in text other than me reiterating, hey, this isn't gonna work. Or me reiterating, like, hey, I don't see this going anywhere. Because I did tell him, um, after he had asked me to be his girlfriend. And, honestly, that might have been my fault. I might have given him mixed signals. I enjoyed teasing it. I enjoyed teasing him. I enjoyed making the situation fun for myself. And then I realized one day I took it too far. Because I would be like, because he would always be like, oh, like, relationship, yippee, whatever. And I'm like, you haven't even asked me to be your girlfriend yet. So how can you say that we're in a relationship or anything close to that? And he'd be like, oh, so you want me to ask you? And I'd be like, no, I'm just saying. How can you say that when you haven't even asked me the question? So like I'll take the blame, I'll take the fault, I'll take the bullet for that. But also it was just me like doing the same old, teasing him, telling him, oh hey, your feelings are funny to me, hee hee. But that was on me. But I also was like, ah shit, I need to tell him this is not going anywhere. So we got on VR chat. He took me to the Great Pug, which is where we allegedly met for the first time. And he went on a spiel and he ended it with the question of if I wanted to be his girlfriend or not. And I felt my heart drop because I was like, fuck, why did you have to choose today? Why did you have to choose today when I chose today to tell you we're not going to be anything other than friends? So I was like, okay, fuck, I have to do it now. So I told him, I was like, I don't see you as anything other than a friend. I mistook my feelings. I don't think uh I don't think we would be. I don't like. I don't want. I didn't say I don't want to be in a relationship with you. I said I don't think we. I don't think this is gonna be anything other than it is. Uh, and somehow he misinterpreted my words into thinking I just needed more time. I just needed more time to think. I just needed more time to get my feelings in check and be like, okay, yeah, I'll be your girlfriend afterwards, you know? But it wasn't, because I had to text him, I think the following day, and be like, hey, I think you're misinterpreting what I said, because I was telling you that we're not going to be girlfriend and boyfriend. We're not going to have a relationship. I can't see you as anything other than platonic. And the entire time I did it, I was apologizing, like really, really, really bad. I was apologizing up and down, left and right. Like you could, like I felt bad. I felt bad, but I felt bad. I was also crying that day because I felt like our friendship died. That was the same day I threw up, but I didn't really throw up anything. I just threw up water. That's all I did. I threw up water. Like I hadn't eaten anything that day up until that point, and I was just like, I need to drink something. I'm dehydrated. So I took a sip of water. It tasted rancid. I proceeded to throw it up afterwards. And holy shit, this throwing up with an empty stomach hurt. But again, I talked to him. I'm like, hey, this isn't gonna happen. I'm sorry. I started crying a lot again because I was like, I felt bad. And somehow he still misinterpreted what I said. He was like, no, no, you just need more time. And I'm like, no, this is not gonna happen. No matter how hard you try, this is not gonna happen. Like, here, the texts, I'm like, sorry about the whole rejection thing. Couldn't say this earlier because I got emotional because I felt like such a cunt. Because I did. I felt bad. But honestly, now that I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, I did a good thing. I ended it before it got too fucking far. It's and I also told him another thing. That's the issue. I don't know if I actually want to pursue this as an actual relationship. It's just that I've known you since I was like 15, 16, and I've always seen you as an older brother figure up until recently. So the idea of actually being in a relationship with you is kind of iffy. It's something against you. My brain just doesn't know how to process this right, and it didn't. It really did not know how to process it because it all happened in my mind a little too fast. You know, like him going in that world with me, doing the whole song and dance, asking the question, it made me realize that I wasn't in a fever dream. It made me realize that it was actually all happening in real time. And I was like, oh fuck. Right. I got it, like, alright, shit, okay. Like you can't really think anything else other than that. You can't really think anything else other than this is fucked. This shouldn't have happened. Fuck. And at that point I did feel like I was leading him on. So I felt really bad. And then he's like, only you can make the decision and I respect your decision no matter what you choose. And then here it is. Look, if we're being honest, I was hurt. I was like hurt. It felt like I just got hit by a truck, but I tried my best to shake it off since I know you need time to think about us being together. Isn't like I told you? I don't like here. Like how do you misinterpret what I said to you as me saying, "Hey, I need more time"? And then I blurred this out because it's personal stuff. And then it's just me, like, going, "Oh, I'm sad," and him going, "Oh no, it's okay, it's okay." And then I kept apologizing. And then it got on, it went on, and went on, and then I had to apologize again. I had to reiterate it again. Yeah, just hope maybe the next time I ask you, it'll be a different answer, you know? And I'm like, that's the thing. There won't be a next time. Why wouldn't there be a next time? I've had my eyes on you for a while. I'm not gonna give up that easily. And he's like, because like I said last night, the idea was being in a relationship doesn't sit right with me. And he's like, I'm confused. I'm like, about you being afraid of there not being a next time. You already know I'm gonna ask you again. I think I'm afraid is another thing I think or something like that. Well, you don't have to be afraid since you know I'll ask you again. Yeah, but you're not understanding what I'm trying to say. Which was getting on my nerves at this point. I was like, how are you not getting it? How are you not understanding what I'm trying to get across here? He's like, and then that's when it started finally clicking. He's like, do you mean what I think you mean? It's like, what I'm trying to say, so my answer to last night is no. I thought about this all morning, and I just can't see you as anything other than platonic, regardless of my feelings for you. Because at this point, I was also confusing feelings again. I was confusing feelings the entire time. I didn't know what I was feeling at that point. I just know I appreciated all the attention I was getting, because again, attention whore, hello. But and then that's where everything starts to spiral downwards, and that's after everything here, like me apologizing and everything. That's when I thought the friendship was over. That's when I thought everything was done. It was over. It was done. Dead dove do not eat. That's literally the situation for me. And again, this is just me going like, I threw up because I cried so hard. And then these screenshots were taken from my phone, and this is from the group chat. And I'm like, ugh, my eyes hurt. I don't have an appetite, and thinking of food makes me sick. I haven't eaten anything all day. I ate like an hour ago, right? And I was just acting up again, so I also forgot to mention I threw up earlier. Just straight up water. I just threw up straight up water. And then my friends were like, oh no. I'm like, are you okay? Hope you feel better soon. And I was talking about my cat when I was throwing up. As one does. And I'm like, thank you, it was weird. Like, keeping with empty stomach hurts like a motherfucker. Like, holy shit. Throwing up water, straight water sucks. It was weird. Had that happen. I've never done it before. And then, after that, me and Taco basically went MIA with one another. We stopped talking for a while. And they isolated themselves from everybody we knew. They isolated themselves from their own friends. They would leave group chats, leave servers, leave everything. And they basically isolated themselves into a little bubble. And I'm just like, right. I'll just give them their time then. I'll just give him his time. He's off dealing with things. And I'm just going to, you know, take this newfound freedom. Because after that, like, since I wasn't in, like, calls with him anymore every day, because I wasn't in, like, and I wasn't anywhere with him anymore. He distanced himself. He was gone, basically. He took himself out of my life for a moment in time. And in that moment in time, I felt a newfound freedom that I didn't have before. Or at least that I had before I met him. So I could DC with friends again. I could play games with friends again. I could just hang out with my friends and be around them more. Which was great. It felt nice. Like, I haven't been able to do that for a while, ever since, like, we got really close. Because there would be times I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna go play with somebody else, or hey, I'm gonna go do this, or I'm gonna hang up, or I'm gonna do this and the other. But that was very few and far between. I could probably count on my hands the amount of times I did that in 1 year of being his friend, because we were always in VCs together. We were always in calls together. We were always doing something together. So it was, and since everybody knew I was best friends with Taco at the time, everybody would come up to me asking me what happened. And I'd be like, just give him some time. He's going through something. Like, I would come up with lies. And to like save face and be like, he's going through something. He needs his time. Just give him his space, etc., etc. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. I never asked him, even though I knew everything. I knew everything that was going on. I just didn't want to tell people. Because I knew if I told people, who's gonna get the backlash for it? The person I considered my best friend at the time. And I wanted to avoid that, so I did not tell anybody. And then after a while, they messaged me and they went, "Hey, sorry it took so long." He messaged me, said, "Hey, sorry it took so long to get my shit back together." And I don't remember exactly how the conversation went. I don't want to pull up our DMs. I don't want to see him anymore. But I was like, "Hey, it's fine. It's okay." He's like, "How am I gonna tell the others in the group chat what happened?" I'm like, "Just tell them you had something going on and you needed your space." I helped him come up with a lie to tell. And I'm like, "Just tell them you needed your space, that you need your time to yourself, that something came up IRL and you just needed time." And they're like, "Okay." So I added them back to the group chat. They gave the bullshit lie. Everybody believed it, and they got back into servers we were in. They got back to we got back to what was some semblance of normalcy after what happened. But we were never gonna be as close as we were once, and that was just a fact. We were never gonna be close again like we used to. And honestly, I didn't want to be as close as we were again. But we got the friendship continued, but I was becoming distant. I became uninterested. My texts were becoming dry. They were borderline, like, you know how when you text somebody and they're not interested, so they send you one text at a time, while you're sending them 3-4 texts, trying to talk about your interest, and they're like, "Oh, cool." That's essentially how I did. That's essentially how I responded back. I'd say, I wouldn't put effort into my messages anymore. I wouldn't care about what happened to him that day. I would just be like, I don't know. I was very disconnected. But I guess Taco also took note of that and came to me with his borderline anxiety, separation anxiety, and tell me, "Hey, I'm afraid you are distancing yourself from me, and I don't like the idea of that. And you know how I am with people leaving me." And I guess I think he said something along those lines, and I fucking, him saying that snapped something in me, because I'm just I remember I snapped back at him. I'm like, "Dude, I'm doing my own shit. You're doing your own shit. Everybody's doing their own fucking thing. I'm still here. The only one who fucking left was you." Because in reality, the only one who did leave was him. He left after everything, like it was a middle school breakup. Because he was infatuated with an 18-year-old. Which is very weird when I put it that way. Taco. This whole thing is about Taco. Hi, Flopsy, by the way. But, why am I not surprised? Oh no, girl. Anyway, I need to stop getting sidetracked. But, yeah. So, the TLDR was, I was sick of dealing with his borderline separation anxiety with me. It's like he attached himself to me and he just wouldn't let go. And even though I was pulling away, I was like, "Hey, I can't, the only one pulling away is you. I'm still here. You're the one being annoying about it." I wanted to say that. I wanted to say that so bad because it was starting to annoy me incredibly. But I didn't say it because even back then I still cared about his feelings. But now I don't. But I did keep his past traumas and his problems secret. But for the most part, it was just a matter of, hey, that the only one separating themselves is you. But I looked back through my text, I saw how uninterested and how dead I was, and how I didn't put effort, any ounce of effort into our messages, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I could see why he was concerned, but at the same time, I just did not care. I did not care. I did not care at all. And then we reached a point where we stopped texting daily. We stopped calls. We only talk to each other when we're grouped up in Overwatch or in a PC with friends and talking, shooting the shit, or like playing another group game. And we only message each other to send a video or attempt to revive an otherwise graveyard of a DM. Our friendship died the day I rejected him, but we were both too, like, I don't know if we were too blind and stubborn. I think we were just too stupid to acknowledge it. We were just too like, oh, we're still friends. We can still like continue this even though we can't. And but after everything, after like throughout that time where I distanced myself and throughout the time where I was like, okay, I need to get my shit back together, like hang out with friends again and stuff, I realized how fucked up the situation was. Whether like I already prefaced this at the beginning of the stream, but whether or not he intentionally meant to, I ended up becoming a victim of grooming. Because they had the sexual jokes, the sexual innuendos, the jokes directed at me in particular, they all started when I was 16. I'm 22 now, by the way. I wrote this when I was 20. I wrote this a few months ago when I was 21. I'm 22 now. I met him when I was 15. Around the time I was 16 was when the sexual jokes started. And like, I wasn't the only one who dealt with this, but I don't know. It just like, and I again here I mention the clip I mentioned at the beginning of the stream of my best friend B making a joke towards Taco after he made a joke towards me, going, "Shouldn't you be in jail?" Because even then we are like, "Oh, that's fucked up," but haha, funny, you're my friend. I'm not gonna say anything else. But I'm not gonna pull up the clip because I can't stand the fucking sound of his voice anymore. I just can't. Seeing his fucking name, hearing his voice, seeing his PNG pop up, it's enough to like spike like that spark that anger in me again. And after our friendship ended and everything, I'm just like, yeah, you're kind of fucked, buddy. And anytime I would be like aggressive with a friend, anytime I would flirt with a friend, anytime I'd bring to attention I was a girl, I was a Latina, I was angry, I was like anything regarding like just me in general, majority of the time he would say that's hot. Without fail. And this was during private DMs. I was 17. Before this, literally all I sent him was a meme with the caption, "Sir, this is a McDonald's." Unprompted. Let me see if I can find the DM actually. Give me a second. Give me a second. Mirror. Hold on. This is the meme. This is the conversation we had. Unprompted. Completely unprompted. I was 17. Brother. How can you look at a 17-year-old and be like, yeah, I'm gonna say this joke. Yeah, I'm gonna do this real quick. And in 2019, when I was 16, I remember I face revealed in his server while we were in a VC, and there was another friend of ours as well in that VC. And I remember Taco just like seeing my face and going, "I approve." Like, the fuck are you approving of? Like, what? What do you mean by that? What do you mean I approve? Bro, I'm 16. Like, I have the screenshot here. I was 2019. I was 16. At that point, I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling silly. I'm gonna send a picture." Like, you can't argue that. Oh, 1 second, my mom's calling me. Okay, back. My mom was just telling me to do something later, but yeah. And I remember in the VC, the other friend of ours, he was like, "What do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean by that?" Like, we both asked him, like, "Why are you saying that?" And I remember all he did was laugh. That's all he did. He just said, he just laughed. We all laughed, actually. I felt uncomfortable about it, but we all laughed. Because they're like, "Oh, haha, funny, funny meme, funny friend." No. And once I wrote everything, I decided to take my face off the server and now I'm bringing it back to when Taco officially ended our friendship. I'm gonna reiterate again just for keeping like consistency. I was a bitch. I was mean. I didn't make him the butt of the joke. I didn't make him the entire joke. But then I was mean, essentially. That's what caused him to break off the friendship with me. But after a while thinking, I finally realized I know why I did all that is because I started to resent him. I started to hate him. I started to hate every part of him. I started to hate the jokes he did. I started to hate his voice. I started to hate just him as a person. And I started lashing out the best way I knew. And that was just to make fun of him, to make jokes about him, to make him the joke. Just so I can make myself feel a little better. It took me too long to realize why I was being as mean as I was. But since I finally know now, I don't feel bad about anything. Because I remember when he came to me saying, "Hey, I don't want to be friends with you anymore." I remember feeling like this text, like this exchange. I remember I felt borderline happy because I no longer had to pretend to like him. I no longer had to pretend to tolerate him. I no longer had to pretend to deal being in his general like vicinity. I no longer had to deal with any of that. So I was happy. I was really happy. I felt liberated in a way. And again, here we go with the face reveal thing. But here again, I was trying to keep them private. I was trying to keep Taco's name out of this doc as best as I could. And it was just me going, "Hey, no adult should be this hung up on you. No adult should be this dependent on you. No adult should be keeping you in calls for days, texting you good morning, good night, texting you every fucking waking moment of your fucking day." Like, I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying we would be in calls for days and I felt like I was isolated. Granted, some of the calls I would start. But, you know, at some point you gotta be like, "Okay, I'm the adult in the situation. I'm gonna cut it here. That's it, right?" Like, maybe like a few hours in the call, that's understandable. But days? Like, I'm 22 now. If I met somebody who's 16, I'm keeping them like 10 football fields away from me. Like, maybe I'll play a game or two with them. Maybe I'll be in VC with other people around. But would I do that? But would I do what he did to me? Absolutely the fuck not. Even adult to adult, that's a level of codependency that is dangerous and manipulative. A borderline is, because he would also like feed me, like, this isn't mine to out to the world, but It's the only way I know how to make the situation like understandable, or just like in general, just like put into perspective anything. Because I still, even now, even as much as I spite him, I still give him the benefit of the doubt. But he had immense, immense separation anxiety. Immense. Like borderline unhealthy. And it was always with me. It was always with friends he was close to, allegedly. But I was the only friend he was close to at the time, like this close to. And yeah, making this doc made me feel better. But after I posted it, after a month and a few weeks, I felt like my chest was going to explode. I felt like all the rage I felt inside was starting to come to the surface, and I would talk to my boyfriend about it. I'd be like, I really want to name drop him. I really want to do this. I really want to do that. And he would always be like, do what you need to do, or do like whatever you want. And I yesterday, I think, was when I decided I'm going to name drop him. And I'm going to do it on stream. And granted, my boyfriend is very logical. He was like, no, you shouldn't do that. But I mean, at the same time, it's your choice. I'm like, I'm still going to do it. I don't blame my boyfriend. He was just trying to give me his like perspective of it. Like, you probably shouldn't do that. It's probably not a good idea. He's just looking out for me. But at the same time, I'm just like, I need to do it or else I'm going to explode. I'm going to implode. And I remember I gave him an out. I gave Taco the option to message me had this dog come into his feed and he saw it and read it. But it never did, which I'm happy for. But at the same time, I'm also like disappointed because I can't come out of nowhere and be like, hey, you groomed me, you know, you did this to me. He's not gonna take it well. So I can't exactly do that. And I can't exactly go to everybody we both know and tell them, hey, this happened. Because it would be an awkward conversation to come up. So I'm like, the best thing I can do is just stream it. Most of them follow me. Most of them follow my socials. I could just stream it, upload it to YouTube as as a private thing, and just have them all watch it through there. Because just so I don't have to say this again. Because every time I bring it up, I start shaking because I get so angry. And I want to go into the new year with this off my chest, so I might as well do it now. But these are screenshots of him going like, oh, that's hot. Like at this point, I think I was like, I was 18. Yeah, 2020, I turned 18. So I was 18 during these text messages. He'd always say, that's hot, towards me. And I'd be like, hey, my back hurts, can somebody stomp on it, as a joke? And my friend was like, I will if you stomp on mine, you know, because me and my friends, we would flirt and be like, hey, hey, fucking people shy. And then he'd be like, that's hot. And then I'd be like, what? I choked on my spit, because I would be like, you know when you inhale too fast and saliva goes down your breathing hole? That's what will happen. And he'd be like, that's hot. I'd be like, okay. And then hopefully it opens now. And I was deranged. I was very much deranged. I did not give a fuck. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this. He's like, that's hot. And then here I am, like, flirting with a friend. I always flirt with her. Like, it's like a threatening, flirting friendship we have. I fucking love this friend. But we would always do that, and then he'd be like, that's hot. And then again, she would change it to Stitches and Tsundere. I went by Stitch back then because my name was Stitchime. That was my full name, and she changed the channel name, which was the group chat name, and it'd be like, and everybody would laugh. He'd be like, facts, Tsunderes are hot. Again, talking about me. And be like, whoa, are you hitting on your granddaughter? Because we would call him Grandpa, because again, he was the oldest one in the group. He was the oldest person in the group. I will beat everyone here up for the sake of it. Beat me up, that's hot. I hope you enjoyed the uwu, fuck you. Fuck me yourself, you coward. I wanna fuck you. He's like, aw, sad face. Mind you, me and the person in pink are both minors at this point. Again, I'm not the only one he did this to, but they didn't do it as bad. He didn't do it as bad to anybody else as he did it to me, so let's keep going. And again, I'm threatening this person. Do that to me or you're gonna actually grab your ass. you wouldn't dare. And he's like over here going, that's hot, but we ignored him and we continued. Because at that point, like, you can't really do anything other than ignore, because that's all he fucking does. And here we're playing Valorant, and I'm saying, now I'm choking. Because, you know, once you say you're choking in a game, you're fucking doing bad. And he's like, that's hot. I'd be like, stop. No. And then my friend Art going, and I'm just like, your Art chef's kiss, you deserve more than chef's kiss. Hot. Again, attention, local dumbass burns finger. That's the news for today. What the fuck? Again, these are like early in the year. I was 17. Once it turns like, it's true, I'll get he fucking did was make these nasty ass jokes. No, yeah, okay, so Caro, are you okay with me saying your name in this? Because I know you gave me that one screenshot that was very fucking gross. You gave me that one screenshot that was really fucking gross. Okay, so yeah, this the in the pink is Coro. Coro is the one that's 2 years younger than me. And I was 17 at the time. So you can already guess. Drag that. And then I remember I was in a video call with this one person, with this friend of mine. And I'm like, do you want to see a magic trick? He's like, yeah. And I turned the light off. I don't remember what else I did, but I remember we found that really funny. And he, again, would make it sexual, and I'd be like, shut up. He's like, what? We all know what happens when the lights turn off. And I'm like, we go to sleep, forehead. And then here I am threatening another friend, be like, I'll harvest your ass. And then he's like, hot. Like, every single time something would happen, he'd say, hot, hot, hot. And then he'd be like, and I'd say, never underestimate the Lolly Inquisition, because I was making a joke. He'd be like, hot. And I'd be like, say psych right now. Nezuko hot. And the in the anime, she was younger than me. Like, it's just all these screenshots. It's just me going, oh, this happened. Hold on. Here, if y'all want to go ahead and read through it, there you go. Because it's all these screenshots, it's just him going hot whenever I mention anything. Okay, here's another damning one. I'm 16 in this screenshot. It's 2019. I turned 17 this year, at the end of the year. And I'm like threatening my friend because they haven't eaten all day, and I'm like, go eat. And I'm like, my Hispanic mother instincts are kicking in, and I hate this. And he'd say hot, and I'd say die, because shut the fuck up, brother. Like, what the hell? And again, here are some screenshots that I shared before that are censored of him going, that's hot. And it's just like, it's him. I am down for now. Like, who fucking says that? Again, here's another one. When I'm 16, him going hot. Again. Like, I'm also 17, so like, he knew my age the entire time, by the way. Like, he can't even say he didn't know my age. He's been knowing my age. Nerkoro with the screenshot. I remember I didn't censor your name out specifically because this one screenshot is very fucking damning. This one screenshot is disgusting. It's horrible. It's so bad. And Koro sent this to me. I remember, like, this is the only screenshot I took from the 4 screenshots they sent, from the 5 they sent me, because it was just bad. It's just grody. It's disgusting. This one, 2019, for reference. I'm 16 around this point. I haven't turned 17 yet. And Koro's 2 years younger than me. They are 2 years younger than me. You don't make these jokes with a minor, bro. Much less a literal fucking child. Like, you make it too easy, lol. Who fucking says that? Who says that? I I don't know. It is a screenshot I took just now about him making that fucking joke when I was 17. But like you can't just fucking do that, you know? You can't do that. You can't go fuck. You can't. I don't know what else to say. It's fucking gross. It's disgusting. It's deplorable. It's fucking ugh. But again, I didn't know any better, so I stuck around it for the long run, and look at where that got me now. Look at where that got me now. I feel better getting this off my chest. It's not the same as going up to somebody and saying to them directly and having the whole conversation with that person. But at least I have it out now. So I don't have to keep it in any longer. And if he somehow comes across this VOD, if he somehow gets this across his Twitter or whatever, I just want you to know I hate you. I do. I hate you. You had no right to talk to me or anybody like that. You had no right to talk to a minor like that. You're disgusting. I know I said I was gonna avoid insulting, but I can't do that anymore. I can't do that anymore. Taco, I hope nobody has to go through that again. I hope you never put anybody through that again, and if you did put somebody through that again, I hope you can at least, you know, take a bit of that law degree you have and apply it to yourself. But I hate you. I think I can say that confidently. I hate you. Now my eyes are tearing up. that me saying that actually brought it like, oh. I've been holding that back for fucking years. Not even years, just months. I didn't actually expect to cry. That's actually really dumb of me. Ugh. I haven't cried about it since our friendship ended. Well, to me. But, yeah. I didn't expect to cry about it. Ugh. Ugh. Thank you guys. I don't know. For the longest time, I didn't want to ruin his friendships. And I wanted to keep it a secret, but seeing as I already have confirmation from 2 separate people that he's gone and talked, I don't know how long after the fact. I don't know. I finally got it out. Because as a result of everything, I've isolated myself from friends I met through him that I want to talk to again. But I don't know how to bring up the conversation because they still hang up with him too. And it's like, it feels gross. Because he also went through the liberty of trying to tell people, like, oh, look out for Chimera, she's a bitch. She's mean. So, the only reason I had to be mean to him was because of everything he did. And I finally came to that realization months ago. It took a little too long to realize that, but it got done, right? I never believed that. I'm so sorry. He did that to you too? Oh my god, he told you that too? I'm over here trying to protect his name. He's over there slandering me. That's fucking wild. Ugh. The only one that was an asshole was to him. That's it. Bro needs to get what's coming to him, I guess. Hope he rods. What the fuck? Yeah, because I remember after us agreeing like to never speak about it, I kept my part of the deal, but you know, he went and talked. I guess I should have known better than to expect that from somebody who's as immature as he is, right? Yeah, that's about the entire situation though. Like I haven't talked to him and I don't want to talk to him. I did give him the opportunity to reach out when I first originally posted that talk, but now I want nothing to do with him. I don't want to talk to him. Why? I did not expect to get emotional. I really did not. That was. Ugh. Ugh. I don't know. I guess just seeing him around the people that I came to care about did a number on me. And as a result, I isolated myself from them because I would still hang out with him. But I guess this finally airs out a bunch of dirty laundry and takes the skeletons out of the closet, doesn't it? I have nothing else to talk about. I didn't even expect to be talking for 2 hours about this topic. I actually expected it all to be wrapped up within 30 minutes. Yeah, it has to be a weight off your shoulders, I'm sure. 100%. You shouldn't have to lose friends from someone else being a piece of shit. It's not even me just losing friends, it's me, like, deliberately pulling back. Because I don't know if people are acting nice just to be nice in front of me or they're actually being nice. Because I'm pretty sure he's told everybody we both know. So, that's like just the thought of, oh, they know, but they're just being nice to put up a front. It's like the thought I went with every time I hung out with people. So now just everything is out. People can make their choices. I don't know. It's like I think he was doing it as a matter of like, hi, Poco. Hi, my cat just headbutt me. Sorry. I think it was just going around to people going like, oh, watch out, she's a bitch, as a matter of like both damage control and like, I don't know, just trying to gatekeep people at his grown age, which is dumb. Like, but brother, you are pushing 30. Why are you trying to do something like that? But I don't know. It's it's dumb. It's done. Everything happened. The situation has been handled, and he handled it his way, and now it's my turn to handle it my way. So that's about as much as I can say about it right now. But yeah, that's all I had to talk about today. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hearing everything. He told me stuff too. I didn't believe him. He told everybody at this point. I'm convinced he told everybody at this point. I I don't know. It's just a lot, I guess. I'm convinced everybody knows about it and everybody is just like trying to do stuff. Love you, girly. I'll be reaching out more. Love you too, Flopsy. Even though we've never actually officially hung out together, I think, except for like one time, but that's That's about it. I still appreciate you though. Alright. Well, that's all I had to. You were mad chill the one time I met you. I try to be. I don't typically give people attitude or am an asshole like he said I was unless they give me a reason to, and he seemed to have given me a reason to. He acted like it was just a simple heartbreak. It's actually disgusting how you tried to manipulate others to be to the point of dragging you through the mud. No, actually though. But what? I know I'm crying. Go. I don't need you to be emotional support right now. I'm good. Like, I don't know. He's acting like it's a middle school, high school breakup. He's acting like I did the worst thing possible to him. He leaves a lot. I'm sorry. I love you. I always enjoy hanging out with you. Thank you. I guess I can start hanging out with people I want to hang out with again, but I do tend to avoid a lot of things. You've always been so lovely to me. I try to be nice when I can, but it's just with him, I just couldn't do it anymore. I could not do it anymore. But I think that's it. That's all I had to talk about today. Wow, that cry actually felt good. I got everything off my chest with that cry. That felt great. I have to go wash up now before my mom asks me what's wrong. So, I think that'll be it for today. Not entirely sure. If you ever want to summon people for a hangout, devs down. Take your people back. You deserve them. Thank you. Thank you. Am I good to reach out to you after you go offline? I think so, but I think I'll probably be offline for like the rest of the night and probably get to people tomorrow. It's one of those situations where I'm sure quite a few people are thinking I'm not surprised, or of course it's Taco. No, yeah, actually. He was just such a, I don't know. Like, at this point, I think it's safe to say that he's a bit of a sex pest. That's okay, please take time you need. Okay, thank you. Get some rest. If you ever want to talk, my DMs are open on Discord or wherever or whatever. Yes, of course. I reach out to people. But I'm very bad at reaching out to people. I'm very much an NPC. I only talk to people when I'm talked to first, but I'm trying to fix that. So, yeah. So, relatable. we're all introverted in this little circle here. But yeah. Okay, I think that's it for now. I'm gonna go ahead and go now. I don't know. Do you guys want to raid out to somebody? I feel like raiding out a little bit. I don't know. The are trying to take us away. I'm not entirely sure if I should raid out or not since today was such a heavy topic. But I still feel like going to somebody so you guys have a better, have like an uplifting final stream before the night ends. But I'm not entirely too sure. Not entirely too sure. I think they'll just leave to raidless. Yeah, I guess so. I guess that makes sense. Well, thank you guys for being here. Sorry I cried. I do have a collab on Wednesday at 8 p.m. EST. We're doing Lockdown Protocol. It's gonna be my first time playing. But after that stream, I think I'm gonna just go offline in terms of streams for like the rest of the week, and then stream whenever I can bring myself to do it. Because I don't think I'm gonna do schedules for a bit. Gotta try to get my head back on straight. Nothing to be sorry about at all. You're amazing getting through all this. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. I somehow managed. But yeah, I think I'm just go now. I'm gonna go wash up. Gonna go do what my mom needs me to do and just relax for the rest of the night. Okay? Thank you guys for being here. I'll see you guys on Wednesday, hopefully. Alright. Bye bye. Appreciate all of you. Bye bye.